Well, folks, the numbers are in, and Donald Trump was officially, economically speaking, the worst president the United States has ever seen since the Great Depression. From his first month in office to his last month in office, the gross domestic product here in the United States, GDP, grew by a whopping 1.6%. 4 years, 1.6%. The slowest growth the country has seen since the Great Depression. And hey, George W. Bush, Donald Trump officially dethroned you because in the 8 years that George W. Bush was in office, we had 1.8% GDP growth. Somehow Trump came along and did even worse than you in only half the time. And sure, we had a deadly global pandemic that's still raging to this day, by the way. And yeah, that really hurt GDP. But you cannot blame all of this on the pandemic, okay? He had more than 3 full years before that pandemic ever hit. And what did we see during those 3 years? We had some job creation that was slower than what the Obama administration saw. So we were already watching as those key indicators of upcoming recession were making themselves known. I remember sitting here in the summer of 2019 talking about stories where economists would say, listen, we're not far off from a recession. Actually, that may have been 2018 at that point, saying we're 6 months or maybe 12 months away from a massive recession. And then, of course, the pandemic hit, absolutely sent us into a recession. But they were warning us long before that all of the conditions were there. The growth was slowing. The pay was stagnant. The jobs were crap. Jobs were leaving the country. The trade war was harming this country in ways that we're still learning about, which, by the way, the trade war hasn't ended yet. All of the signs were there. This was going to happen, pandemic or not. So it is important to point out that no, this is not just because of the pandemic. It's because Trump was a truly horribly awful president, and he had no idea what he was doing. And his economic advisors, people like Larry Kudlow, are also morons who shouldn't be in charge of any kind of economy because this is what they bring us. There has not, in my lifetime, been a Republican president, no matter how long they served in office. There hasn't been a single Republican president in my lifetime that hasn't presided over a recession. Every time. Every time. Over the last 40 years that we have had a president in that White House, boom, recession. Multiple recessions under Reagan, by the way. It's not a coincidence. Republicans suck at the economy. They don't want to admit it. They want us to think that, oh, they're these economic gurus. They came up with trickle-down. That's one of the reasons we're in the position we are, guys, because you're so frickin' horrible at it. But this story about Trump having the worst economy since the Great Depression also makes me wonder one other thing. Why is it that his base is clamoring for him to go back to the White House? Like literally by every measure now, every single measure, the guy was an abject failure. Let the country get ravaged by COVID, was destroying the economy, losing American jobs, losing a trade war, sending farmers into bankruptcy. Wasn't actually building the wall that you people think he needs to build. So what did he do that makes you worship him like a god? I honestly want an answer to that because there's no logical explanation, so I would like to hear the idiotic reasoning that these people have to offer. Because by every possible measure, Donald Trump was the biggest failure this country has seen in close to 100 years. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel for fresh content 7 days a week.